point of view. And of course, a big thank you to the Sports Authority of India, to the Ministry of Sports, the Government of India, and of course, Raghav Saab, thank you for setting all of this. Dr. Saab, Anupam, and Sandeep, of course, for holding my hand through the trials to make this happen. So, namaskar to everybody. और आजकल नमस्कार का बड़ा global meaning है कि कोई handshake वगैरह नहीं करता है because of the current problem. But I really am delighted to be given this opportunity. मैंने राघव साहब से और राव साहब से और बाकी साहब से बोला है डॉक्टर साहब से कि as much as possible, if you have any comment, any question, any clarification, please present that as quickly as possible because our time is short. And I would rather talk about what you want to know or need to know or want to clarify than all my other chatter because this is the fourth session, 3 session हो गए हैं. थोड़ा सा लोग पता नहीं कितना fatigued हो गए होंगे कि नहीं, but I'm very grateful that all of you have tuned in. I believe it's not just coaches from India, but also from other parts of the world. So language becomes a bit of a concern because जितना हो सके I will speak in English, लेकिन कभी-कभी हिंदी में भी बोलना पड़ेगा क्योंकि कुछ शायद ऐसे लोग हैं जो इतनी ज़्यादा अंग्रेजी ना समझ पाएं. तो अब इस सेशन में किसको कितना क्या समझ आएगा मैं नहीं जानता, but I'm hoping that at least most of you will follow what I have to say in either or language. But that brings me to the first point that I want to talk about. Because the topic may be whatever it is, responsibilities of coaching, coaches taking the game forward, etc. But if we all sit back quietly and think about what is our method of communication, because whether it's at the lowest level or at the highest level, coaching methodology may be different for different people, for children, for people who are 19 years old, for professionals. But one thing remains constant. एक चीज की जरूरत हमेशा रहेगी, and that is communication. और communication हम करते कैसे हैं? What is the tool of communication? Always, 90% of the time, language. Yes, there are other methods of communication, but language is the key. All of us have our own setbacks, our own problems. If some people have tuned in from Korea, then you know Korean, maybe you know a little bit of English. If some people are from Malaysia, they may know local languages there, but not other languages. After all, how many languages can we know? If somebody is listening from, what can I say, Madhya Pradesh, and if your Hindi is very good, but your English is not, then, it becomes a bit of a problem communicating. A lot of coaches may think that, my knowledge of the game is my major communication tool. I would beg to differ because आप जितना भी जानते हो, लोगों को समझाएंगे कैसे? And for me, therefore, language is your biggest skill as a coach. और अगर language हम खुद नहीं सीखेंगे as a coach, when I say I'm pretending I'm a coach as well because I'd like to say that we're all together in this. I'm not speaking to a different set of people. So our first effort, जो हमारा पहला एक push होना चाहिए, वो अपनी language को और सुधारने का होना चाहिए. Now, if you are from a certain part in India, which is a very complicated country, you may need to know your local language there. You may need to know, say, Kannada. Then you may need to know Hindi to be able to communicate to a larger section of India. And of course, don't underestimate the power of English as well. Because whether we like it or not, हम कह सकते हैं कि हम English क्यों सीखें? हम तो अपनी language में बोलेंगे. लेकिन international language भी कोई चीज होती है. So let us be humble and accept the fact that English is a necessity. और अगर हमें इतना नहीं मालूम है इंग्लिश या हिंदी तो सीखने की कोशिश करें. I mean, only if we realize that we need to be able to communicate all that we know as coaches to people in various languages, we can't learn them all, but we can hopefully improve our own power of expression, of teaching, of coaching by knowing that we need to know languages better. Because otherwise we are restricted. अगर हम सिर्फ एक ही लैंग्वेज जानते हैं, अगर हम सिर्फ तमिल जानते हैं, तो हम तमिल में लोगों को तमिलनाडु में सिखा सकेंगे. अगर हमें नेशनल कोच का कुछ पदवी मिल गई तो फिर क्या करेंगे? Or if we have to go overseas and we have to go and coach in, say, take a country, Uzbekistan, how will we communicate to people? You may say that the knowledge of the language of the game is universal. The language of sport is universal. ये कहने की बातें हैं. The more important thing is to be able to communicate in a language. So my first appeal to everybody here is to please spend as much time as you can, and don't tell me you don't have time, on learning the language of expression. At least one or two languages, maybe Hindi in the context of India and English in the context of the world. Because let us not restrict ourselves कि मैं कहाँ बाहर जाऊँगा, मैं कहाँ किसी को सिखाऊँगा, मैं तो अपने local area में हूँ. नहीं, but you must know these languages to be able to expand your own universe. So I hope you take that well. I'm not pushing English. I'm not some, English teacher or anything or Hindi or whatever. But एक दो और language सीखने से अपना खुद का जो संसार है वो बढ़ता है. And only then can we accept assignments around the world and grow the game, because this whole thing is about growing the game. Whatever's happened so far, भाई प्रो कबड्डी लीग हो गई, बहुत सारे बड़े बड़े टूर्नामेंट हो गए, वर्ल्ड कप हो गया, वो ठीक है, वो हो गया. अब हमको आगे बढ़ना है. We always have to keep looking ahead, at least 5-10 years ahead. Where is the game going? Where do you want the game to go? Who's going to take it there? Who has the responsibility of taking the game forward? Well, yes, there is some part of the management needs to take the game forward, but from the first step of the game till the final step at the highest level, the one thing that you cannot do without is coaches. Even in any sport. Roger Federer has coaches with him. What does he need a coach for? But it's still necessary. And of course, at the very young junior level, without a coach, where do you even learn? Where do you start? So coaching, as we all know, is a very, very important permanent ingredient of sport. But how do we upgrade our knowledge and skill level? But more importantly, how do we express it to anybody else? दूसरे लोगों को कैसे समझाएंगे अगर हमको language नहीं मालूम? So I hope I've said enough, and I hope all of you absorbed the fact that you must spend more time in becoming more fluent, more comfortable with English, and in the Indian context, Hindi, and in your other national languages, your own national language. Because the more you know about a language, the more accurately you can express yourself. And accuracy is very important, especially, well, in any phase of life. कहीं भी किसी भी चीज को किसी को सिखाना है तो accuracy is very important. But what are you really wanting to say? उधर जाके वो ले आओ. What does that mean? You have to go specifically to that area and get that specific thing. More and more accuracy in language will get you more and more results. So communication, big key in taking this game around the world. Now, if, for instance, one of you coaches needs to go to Venezuela, you don't need to learn Spanish or whatever else is spoken there, Portuguese. But if you know an international language, English perhaps, they will make an effort to learn and you will make an effort to express. And hopefully the game will grow. Otherwise, language is one of the biggest barriers in the game growing. And we are still internationally very, very young. As a sport, we may be thousands of years old, but internationally, अभी कबड्डी बहुत छोटी चीज है, उसको बहुत आगे ले जाना है, बहुत बढ़ाना है. लोग कहते रहते हैं हमको Olympics में जाना है. Everybody is saying we must reach the Olympics. But how? Unless more countries play and more countries play well and are coached well. नहीं तो वहीं के वहीं रह जाएंगे. So please realize the responsibility of learning the language. Okay. And when we talk about language, I mentioned that 90% may be the spoken word, but there are other aspects to language or communication. And one of them, of course, is body language. I'll just quickly spend 10 seconds on this, or a few seconds. That body language is important. And I'm sure all of you know that. I don't want to coach the coaches. I mean, all of you are much smarter than I am. But our body strength, positivism is the big key. Positive रहना बहुत बड़ी बात है. And that must come from the top. And the top, in this case, is the coach. The coach of a team must remain positive, must remain, and there are many other things there, but you must be encouraging, which is, I suppose, all words related to positivism, motivational. As a wonderful leader, not as a critical guy, not somebody who keeps putting people down. So people know that, but please focus on the positive power of a coach. It's too easy to be negative, saying, what have you done? Ye kya kiya, wo kya kiya. But positivism is very important, because especially when somebody has done something wrong, he needs to be lifted up again. And coaches need to just understand that. There are many, to take a simple example, earlier I mentioned Roger Federer. अब वो कोई बड़े-बड़े tournaments खेलते हैं, tennis player, उनके coaches, coaching team, 3-4-5 coach, side में बैठे रहते हैं. The coach is always on the sideline of a tennis tournament. You will never see them berate a player if he misses something or messes up or loses. They don't do, oh God, they're only sitting there encouraging. They can't coach much because there's no opportunity, it's not allowed. But there's only positivism that comes out of these coaches. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it, So that positive body language is very important for coaches as well, because at any level, even at the youngest level and even at the professional level, negativism of a coach can really hurt a player. And you'll find performances going down because he's not getting what he needs from a coach. He needs that lift. He needs motivation all the time, not to be put down. So this, of course, you know, but try and follow it as much as possible in terms of body language. I have another important angle to talk about. And Rao Saab and everybody else, please stop me in case there's a question or a clarification that anybody wants. My next topic is something very close to my heart. And I'm rushing through all of this. मैं बड़ी तेजी से बोलता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि time बहुत कम है और वाकई में time कम ही रहता है. So the next important aspect, and you know, whenever I say any such thing, I'm not saying that you don't know. I know you know, but today is all about reaffirmation. एक बार आपको याद दिला दूँ. One very big thing for me, from everybody in life, but certainly coaches, because coaches tend to be many things in one. They tend to be a parent. They tend to be, of course, the teacher of skills. They tend to be your friend. They tend to be a confidant. Here. A player should be bombarded every day, hit by ethical behavior. So this focus, this high, heavy focus on ethics. And what does ethics mean? You know what it means. Just all the good human values of honesty and all the rest of the things. You know what ethics means. Extreme honesty. Ye logo mein kahan aayegi? In youngsters who are playing sport, or maybe who reached a certain level, or even the seniors playing at the very highest level, they have to be constantly reminded. हमेशा उनको हर रोज याद दिलाना चाहिए कि good ethical behavior is the cornerstone of life and of sport. Now, if that bombardment is not coming from coaches, then sometimes players tend to wander a bit. And they have to be kept on a very narrow focus ethically. Because not only for their individual lives, but collectively for that sport, the more the ethical behavior, or should we say the less the problematical, unethical behavior, the more that sport grows. And you may say that, oh, football is such a big sport, the biggest sport in the world, but there's so much unethical behavior. Well, they've already become big, but we have to grow. And there are many, I don't want to, मैं ज़्यादा इस पर फोकस नहीं करना चाहता, लेकिन बहुत लोग चाकू लेके निकले रहते हैं हमेशा. अगर कोई चीज आगे बढ़ रही है तो लोग चाकू लेके निकल रहते हैं कि इसको काटते हैं कहीं से. So don't allow people to throw a negative light on our sport of Kabaddi. Because there are many people who are not happy that Kabaddi is growing, because it's a competitive world. If you see a competitor growing, you don't like it. And we want to grow, we are growing, but we must keep unethical behavior away from the sport as much as is humanly possible. And that focus must come from the coaches. If the coach is a little loose, either individually or in terms of not focusing enough on it on the team, then players don't learn the importance, the extreme importance of ethics as they're growing up, of fair play, of every good thing that is there in life. A player must have it. Yes, there is extreme focus when you're playing. There is heat of the moment and everything else. But in their hearts, if players have been coached well by coaches who understand the importance of ethics, my contention is that they will not waver. They will be straight. So ethics for me is a very, very big point. And I will spend as much time as anybody wants on it. But today time is short, so I'm going to move on. Please teach all, at every level, the importance of being brutally honest. कुछ भी हो हमको बताओ. कितनी भी कोई बुरी चीज हो, कहीं भी कोई जा रहा हो, हमको बताओ यार, हम आपके लिए हैं, हम support करेंगे. But don't let them wander and be unethical, because I think 5 unethical cases in a year can really ruin a sport. Just that much, because people are looking for it. Don't give them reason to point fingers at Kabaddi, because we have many walls of prejudice still to break. I don't want to focus too much on that, but the reason Kabaddi wasn't reaching a major national or international visibility level was because of these walls of prejudice. लोग कहते थे कि यार ठीक है, मतलब कुछ दीवारें थी, काफी तो हमने तोड़ दी, लेकिन अभी बाकी हैं. और उनको तोड़ने के लिए this ethical behavior is very, very important. Already, I think people who know Kabaddi, who like Kabaddi, who watch Kabaddi, are aware that there's something special about the game. There's an honor system. People are very, very fit and tough and strong, and it's a brutal, robust sport. But within all of that, they're very, very honest. And there's an honor system there. That is something that we have to keep pushing, not taking for granted. So every day, give a lecture to your people about honesty. Next thing I want to say is looking the part. Now, I know many of you may have been players earlier on, now you're coaches, or you may have learned the art of coaching through various courses or whatever. But looking the part is very important. You might say कि भाई देखो जब मेरा वक्त था मैंने ट्रेन किया था, अब मैं ट्रेन में नहीं करूंगा, मैं आराम से बैठूंगा, जो खाऊंगा खाऊंगा, जो जैसे करूंगा करूंगा, मुझे फिट रहने की जरूरत नहीं है. But let me assure you that being fit and looking fit is very important for the psyche of a sports person. He might respect a coach regardless of how the coach looks. But if there is a 5%, even just a 5% opportunity to increase that respect automatically without doing anything else, is by looking fit and being fit. I think all sports persons like to appreciate fitness. So as coaches, please accept that as your personal responsibility. That it's not that bhai main to jaisa hu waisa hu. You people must look at me for my coaching skills and not my physical appearance. I beg to differ. I think that by focusing on fitness, by understanding fitness, by remaining fit, by showing that you're fit, it sends a very important message to the players. And I'm not saying it's a big message that, oh, you're a very fit guy, so you must be a good coach. No, you have to be a good coach. But if you're also fit, or at least focusing on fitness, then I think it makes that little bit of, 5% difference also, but very important. So please, and of course, it's very good for health. Don't let yourself go. कि भाई मैं तो जैसा हूँ वैसा हूँ, ये बहुत गलत चीज है लोगों में कि मैं तो जैसा हूँ वैसा ही हूँ. You have to take me as I am. अरे भाई और फिट होने से क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है? कोई नहीं. So please focus on your fitness as well. It'll earn you that extra mileage with the people you train. Also, it's possible, I'm not saying this is not for any individual person, that sometimes we believe we know everything. And we can't be more further from the truth. बहुत ही गलत बात है, या गलत सोच है कि भाई मुझे सब कुछ मालूम है. किसको सब कुछ मालूम है? किसी को भी. एक आदमी नहीं इस दुनिया में जिसको सब कुछ मालूम है. So please realize that you know what you know, but there are many other people who may be around you who are specialists in what they do. Now, I've personally seen this, that coaches tend to be a little dismissive of people in related fields. That doesn't work well for a team. I think for me, a coach is somebody who realizes that anything good for his team or his players must be taken in. Anything. So therefore, if you have specialists, somebody even within the sport is an attack specialist, somebody is a defense specialist, somebody is a tactician, somebody is a mental strength coach, somebody is a yoga coach, somebody is a trainer, somebody is a physio, somebody is a doctor. Each one of them has a specialty, and all coaches must realize that I want to take those specialities into my team and have those people work with my team. Not by saying, bhai, tere ko kya malum hai? Mujhe malum hai coach kya banna hai. So please have the humility once again to accept professionals from other fields who will add to the development of your team. And I say this because I've noticed sometimes coaches are reluctant. Kehte hain ki bhai, usko kya malum hai, isko kya malum hai, coach to main hu. Take them all in. If you're the head coach, you have an automatic place of respect. You have the top seat. Allow other people to come in and help the team at every level, the junior most level and the senior most level. These specialists make a very big difference because they are narrow focused into what they do. Allow them to work with the team. In fact, try and understand more and more, increase your own skills about understanding where they come from and what their own skills are. So this multi-skill atmosphere of a team, any team, junior most team, middle team, senior team, international team, should have multiple focuses going in. The head coach, in fact, needs to only pull the strings and say, okay, you come in here, you teach this, you teach that. Don't think that it'll loosen your own control of the team. Most of the sports now realize that other specialists are important. In fact, not only specialists who are from your own sport or from, say, the world of physios or trainers or whatever, allow them full reign, understand what they're doing and allow them. Maybe you can work together and say what works for my sport more especially. Also, if there are specialists from other sports or people who have achieved in other areas, if there's a finance professional, if there's some professional in some other field, call them in. Allow them to work with your team because all these experiences are important and all these understandings are important for each player. Balki, aapke liye bhi, as a coach, it will be very nice if a finance professional comes and talks to the team. At least you will also know ki ho kya raha hai duniya mein, finance ki duniya mein. If there's a marketing professional or anybody in any field, if there's some mountain climber who you have access to, call him, invite him to talk to the team. ये जो बाहर की influences होती हैं, ये भी important है, because he can tell you just how difficult his area is, and how he had to surmount all of that to get to, say, a mountain peak or whatever. Because what am I trying to say? Don't disrespect any other line of work or professional, because they all add. And ultimately, everything has to go into the pot to make it a fabulous dish or a fabulous team. So respect all the rest of your support staff and try and get the best in. Learn from them as well. Basically, we have to grow the game. The game has done very well in the last 5-6 years. Thank you, Anupam. Thank you, Star Sports. And of course, the many other people who are involved. But we have so much more to go. I mean, we've taken only the first 3 or 4 steps in a journey of 1,000 steps. Because if we don't grow now, if we don't use the popularity of the Pro Kabaddi League and all the sort of the churn in the world of Kabaddi, then the moment will pass. The opportunity may go. Because there's a time for everything in life. The time was ripe 3 years ago, but it's still ripe to go to other parts of the world. But if you do that, if you grow the game as coaches, overall, your own internationalism needs to grow. Wherever you are in this world, आप चाहे चेन्नई में बैठे हो या हिमाचल में बैठे हो या कोरिया में बैठे हो या कहीं भी बैठे हो, मलेशिया में बैठे हो, you need to understand the concept of internationalism. And it's not an easy concept to understand, because whenever you go to any other country, certain things are expected of coaches, a certain kind of behavior. You have to be pioneers at this point of time and take the game wherever the call comes from. I'm not only talking about the highest level. I'm not saying that coaches should be ready to go to any country at any time if there's a need or an opportunity, but also at the lowest levels. If there are some schools around you, आपके आसपास कोई school है, college है, club है, अगर वहाँ थोड़ी सी coaching की ज़रूरत है, because people are keen to play but don't know how to begin, because after all, and I'm not in any way disrespecting people who are physical education directors or physical education teachers in schools, they have their limitation. They have to look after the needs of the children of every sport. They are not generally specialists. But if you have the opportunity to go to such a school or go to any neighborhood place, please spare the time. Don't say कि मेरे लिए तो बहुत छोटी चीज़ है. Please go there to even the smallest of organizations and help them understand the sport and try and develop a lower level coach under you or around you who can develop and grow the sport, because without coaches it's not possible. I know of many schools in India, for instance. I don't know about other countries. Those who are listening from other countries, please tell me. Once they are exposed to the sport, of course, in India, there's massive exposure now thanks to Star and PKL, but I hope that other countries are also watching in small numbers. If there is a need to say, yeah, I think we must start a Kabaddi program. You know, children seem to be fond of it. To my mind, I want to say 9, but I'll say 8 out of 10 such opportunities disappear, fall, because the school authority says, okay, we want to start a Kabaddi program in our school, but शुरू कौन करेगा? Start कौन करेगा? Coach कौन करेगा? And they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. Now, I don't think it's a responsibility only of the coaches. I know that the Kabaddi body, the IKF, the AKFI, all the federations around the country, around the world, need to be organized in terms of their record keeping. How many coaches do we have? How many former players do we have? Which area do they live in? Because the minute the Kabaddi bodies make it known to all and sundry that we can provide coaching, just contact us, this is our number. And that information keeps going out. Schools and colleges, clubs, institutions, anybody will know who to approach. And then that institution, that part of the federation can say, oh, okay, you are in that part of that city. We've got 10 former players or coaches or whatever who are around you. We'll get in touch with them and one of them will come in and start this program. So इसी तरह से बढ़ेगा. Because I know of many schools that after a few months, they say, well, I mean, children were interested, but now we're not interested because there was no coach. It didn't take off, bye-bye. I mean, you know, why arrive at that situation? Please, all of you collectively take this forward. Register yourself with your local body, your city association or district or state or whatever. I know such a move may be happening, and which is why we have so many coaches here today. What's the number? I don't know, but I hope many. But register yourselves, make yourselves known. Once you've decided to take up the mantle of coaching, अगर हमने ठान ली कि मैं तो कोच बनना है मुझे, तो फिर भाई किसी भी लेवल पे कोच करने के लिए कभी-कभी तैयार होना चाहिए. ये नहीं कि मैं तो सिर्फ सबसे हाईएस्ट लेवल पे कोच करूंगा और बाकी नहीं करूंगा. If you don't help institutions around you, schools, colleges, or whatever, how is the sport going to grow? Because for many, many people around the world, it is a brand new sport. They know nothing about it. So somebody has to take that sport forward. And it's up to the coaches because they're step one of making it happen. Luckily, we have a sport that doesn't need anything. Yes, now we may need a mat because earlier it was played on just earth. But in terms of facilities, infrastructure, in terms of space, very, very little space required, very little infrastructure required, very little equipment required. Let's use that to our advantage. Sports have grown wildly where a lot of real estate is required, a lot of equipment is required, a lot of infrastructure is required. वो तो आगे बढ़ गए और जो हमारे स्पोर्ट में कुछ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वगैरह की जरूरत ही नहीं है, अगर हम पीछे रह जाएंगे तो फिर तो बहुत बुरी बात होगी. So please, let's take that advantage forward. Okay. One aspect that I know all of you know, but I'm going to spend some time again on, is understanding and dealing with the different personalities and characters of people in a team. Now, I know on one hand, team sports are supposed to be everybody is together. But all of us know, you know, I know, everybody knows that a team is made up of many different individuals. And each individual is unique. Different personality, different character. कोई किसी तरह से behave करता है, कोई किसी तरह से करता है, किसी की कुछ liking है, किसी का कुछ है. So, I don't think it's humanly possible to tell people कि भाई जो भी आप हैं, आप वो कहीं और छोड़ दो, and you become like this. Very difficult for people to change completely. So as coaches, we have to understand and deal with the differences of individuals, because only then do we reach a higher level in making them all work to their individual strengths, but in a collective atmosphere. And coaches, to my mind, need to work very hard to find out, to understand individuals within the team that they're coaching or within the set of people that they're coaching. Because if we don't understand that and say everybody must behave exactly like this and move exactly like this, it doesn't happen. And you tend to lose the participation or the commitment and the conviction of certain individuals if we don't understand that they're different. I'm not saying that, you know, we should treat people like prima donnas ki isko to kuch nahi bol sakta hai, isko hum dant peet sakte hain. No, not like that. But I'm just saying, by understanding the different personalities, I think, and by, of course, individually taking that forward and motivating them, we can make them better team people. Not by beating them on the head and saying you have to do what the team does, because people are essentially different. Some people will train a little harder, some people will not. Some, you know, people have all sorts of differences, and we have to understand that difference. And I'm not saying promote differences, but by understanding differences, we can handle different players in a different way. Because very often the coach, as I've said, you know, is everything to a team. He's also a father, a mother, or whatever. You know, he's all in all. So the understanding and dealing with players has to come from many angles as well. Not only the game, not only the tactic and the strategy, but also as an independent person. And I'm sure that all of you are developing your skills as you go along, because unless you improve, frankly, your team's not going to improve. So all coaches need to keep, sorry about the lecture, but all coaches need to keep seeing internally as well. Who am I? What am I? What am I doing to improve myself? Because if I'm not looking to improve myself in all the areas that I mentioned, from the communication of learning of languages to begin with, to ethics, to everything else, then the chances are my team's not going to improve either. We'll all stay where we are, stagnation, because I'm not understanding the concept of improvement all the time. And improvement not only on the game, but improvement in my own behavior, in my own understanding, in my own learning, in my own way of handling things, everything. Because central to improving anything is the coach. And the coach must understand that he too, she needs to improve in all aspects that I've mentioned so far. It's also possible that there's plenty of time, especially now that there's no sport happening. I hope it lifts quickly. You know, I don't know, it may take 4-6 months. I don't know. You know, I'm very confused about when sport may happen in all its glory. But this is a good time, and always is a good time to think of new things. We all learn from the masters. We learn from Mr. Kabaddi Rao. We learn from Dr. Saab. We learn from all the top coaches around what are the basic tactics and the basic skills required in the game. But all games have to improve. I mean, if high jump was still being or people who are still high jumping in the manner that they were jumping in the 20s, we'd still be jumping only 6 feet or whatever. Now we're jumping 7.5, 8 feet. How? By an improvement in technique, in skill, in standard, in some new thing, some new angle, some, what's the word here that I'm looking for? Inventions. And I have no doubt in my mind that even though Kabaddi has done very well in the last 4 or 5 years in terms of global visibility and visibility in India, many, many inventions of the game are still waiting to happen. And all of you need to collectively put your mind, or individually, if you want to give your own team the advantage, something new, something different, some new tactics, some new understanding of the game, because many, many new things need to develop. We can't just stay in the same way as we were 100 years ago or 50 years ago or even 5 years ago. Something new, some new technique, some new training methodology, some new psychology, some new anything. Because I'm sure it's waiting to happen, because in a sense, I keep saying we're a very old sport, but we're a very young sport as well. क्योंकि ये जो प्रोफेशनलिज्म आई है, जो सब धमाका आया है खेल में, ये सिर्फ 5-6 साल पुराना है. अभी बहुत आगे जाना है, बहुत नई नई चीजें आएंगी, और ये नई नई चीजें कौन लाएगा? ये आपके थ्रू आना बहुत जरूरी है, because all of the rest of us can think, but as coaches, I'm sure you need to spend more time on something new, something special, something unique that you can pass on to all those who you're coaching. Okay, time is running short, so questions, please. Rao साहब, क्या हो गया भाई? कोई question ही नहीं है तो मैं क्या करूँगा? I told you I can speak for hours, but that's not right. I need to know what people want to know. Anybody there wants to have any kind of... No questions at all? सब सो गए कि क्या हुआ?
पूछे, मतलब मैं पहले अपना स्पीकर ऑन करूं.
Everybody is going to... I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to put you to sleep in the last 40 minutes. I hope I haven't said too much, and I hope it's all been encouraging and positive and taking the game forward. Nobody? Any question typed anywhere? I don't see anything on my computer. And there's some, you know, I'm not computer literate, so I'm not going to continue. When will pro ladies Kabaddi start? I promised the top players of India around 7 years ago that we should be the first professional sports league for women. But, you know, one, of course, the commercial circles are very difficult to get and to manage. And I think, with greatest respect, there are a lot of fabulous women Kabaddi players, but we need more. And I say, and I have one very important example here, that in India, of course, everybody knows the power of cricket.
Sandeep, is there any problem in connectivity?
Rao sir, you can continue.
Sandeep, can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I can hear, sir.
Let him speak. I think he can. His voice is audible. Try.
Yes, sir.
No,
चारू जी का आवाज आ सकता है?
I think there is some problem in connectivity.
What attracted you to Charu sir? What attracted you to Kabaddi? What potential you saw to make it a global sport? What
Yes, yes.
So, Charu sir with us.
हाँ जी, बोलिए. I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay, चारू जी.
हाँ जी. कोई बोलिए ना कुछ.
What attracted you to Kabaddi?
Shall I speak?
Yes, please.
Mr. Raju Balsar has a question.
राजू बोलो भाई.
He asks you, what attracted you to Kabaddi?
And what you felt?
Listen, Raju.
What is the potential you felt?
Raju, I don't have time for all of this because मैं कम से कम 2 घंटे और बोल लूँगा about what attracted me to Kabaddi. But I think it's not only, see, let's begin from the beginning. One, it's a robust physical sport. And because of that, every country, certainly India, needs healthier, more physically able youngsters when they're growing up, at whatever young age onwards. So, it's a sport that develops a healthy physique, to my mind. And good health is always good. So, I mean, there are many other sports and I respect them all, but I think Kabaddi has a very strong sense of overall athleticism. So at the lowest level, I say because of that overall athleticism, it's a great game for any nation. And that's why I like it so much, because it teaches kids to get out there, to get a little more physical, to get more physically able, and of course, eventually more healthy. Apart from that, of course, there are many other good marketing things about the game. It's a small court. It can be covered very easily by television. It can so easily grow because it requires so little in terms of infrastructure and equipment, as I said earlier. So there's every possible angle to not only admire the sport and all the strength and the athleticism of its players, but also so easy to grow. And I'm saying, why has it not grown into a major international sport yet? You just need to make that effort. But yeah, there are many attractive things about the game. I think the honor system is another very attractive thing. The fact that people own up that I was touched or not. Of course, once in a while you go wrong, but 95% of the time people own up, which is fantastic. So it's a great game for youngsters, for fitness, for togetherness. It's a team game. And of course, it's so easy to go around the world, grow around the world, which is not happening at this point of time. So everybody international who's listening, please understand, it's an easy sport to grow. What is the most difficult thing? The most difficult thing always, Raju, is the first step. Who's going to take the first step? Who's going to go to some other country and begin a game in one school, one club, to be a pioneer? That's the most difficult thing always. Baad mein sab theek hi ho jata hai yaar. Okay, Raju, so many attractive things about the sport, but I think overall athleticism and the ease of introduction to the sport anywhere are the two keys.
Sir, there is a question from Pooja Jain.
Haji.
She is asking, Kabaddi is a male-dominant sport. Women Kabaddi is at loop line. How to encourage girls to play Kabaddi, especially rural girls? Sir.
Haji, I think I just mentioned that earlier, the fact that, you say it's a male-dominated sport, but, I mean, whether we like it or not, just how families independently grow, the boys are allowed to do so much more outdoors and the women are generally kept in, the conditioning is all wrong. The conditioning is from families that the girls must stay home and help with the cooking and the boys can go out and do whatever they feel like. So I think it's an independent family decision. I think, somewhere this chain has to be broken. And I think seeing more people play, seeing is believing. And we have to attract the women to go and watch tournaments, mothers, etc., to see that women are playing and playing it really well and playing with a great amount of capability. But these things are not done by hitting people on the head. You can't go and hit parents on the head and say, you please send your child out or please send your girl out. These things develop with time. They take a long time, but somebody has to make the beginning. I think there's so many other tournaments happen. The minute there's a professional tournament for women, say a professional league, I own up and I apologize that, we haven't started one yet, but it'll happen soon. Then I think a lot of attention will come on the fact. For instance, even, I keep using cricket as an example, even cricket, it's taken so many years for women's cricket now to finally get some level of publicity and acceptance and understanding, and mothers or parents may be allowing their young girls to go, chalo thoda sa khel lo, koi baat. But it'll take time. And I have no, fabulous answer for this, except that when there's higher visibility and role models, it'll happen. Its time will come. For instance, so many youngsters are now playing badminton because of 2 or 3 stars, because there's a lot of visibility. Of course, it's a very different sport, but it will happen. It will happen with time. So one of the most key words in our life is patience. Don't do something before it's time, because sometimes when you do something which is not ready, you can push it back by 10 years. Or kharab ho sakta hai mamla. So the time will come, but it's a very independent family decision. And I think, secondly, more role models. So I think its time will come. How can different players from different regions? Yeah, I said the same thing. I think there has to be commonality of language, and we all have to understand as coaches to tell our wards those people who are playing, the same thing applies to them also. Fine, you know your regional language, you don't know Hindi and you don't know English. तो भाई आगे जाना पड़ेगा तो ये चीजें भी सीखनी पड़ेंगी. And therefore, you take everybody with you. It's not that only you must learn more languages or get better at English or Hindi. Everybody coaching under you, as a coach, I think it's important for you to tell them also to please focus on language, on learning other languages. So when they go ahead in life, they will have an ease of movement. Srinivas from Telangana. Yeah. Thank you. Greetings. But is there any question? Transparency in rules, somebody just mentioned. How much time did I take to plan for Pro Kabaddi? 4 years. Took 4 years of very hard work, but that's a lovely story for another day. But you mentioned something about transparency of rules. I think maybe that's a good question for Mr. Kabaddi Rao and Dr. Saab to answer. I think Mr. Kabaddi Rao and Dr. Saab and others were instrumental, and that's why he's known as Kabaddi Rao. And who knows him as E. Prasad Rao, to put the various rules of different Kabaddi boxes into one box. And yes, for the Pro League, we, thanks to Kabaddi Rao and of course a couple other people running the federation, understood that if this game is to prosper and do well on television and around the world, some rules need a little, which we did. But I think Mr. Rao played a massive role in putting all the rules together in one box. There is a rule book, and I think all coaches need to know the rule book like the back of the hand. Every single rule, 100%. And I don't think it's a very complicated sport. Of course, those who are new to it keep saying, "Ye samajh mein nahi aaya, wo samajh mein nahi aaya, ye kaise ho raha hai, wo kaise ho raha hai." But I think there are very few sports that are as simple as Kabaddi in terms of rules. So I don't think there's any lack of transparency in the rules. But Kabaddi Rao Sahab, do you have any view on that? If somebody just mentioned that we should have more transparency in rules?
Not very, this one, transparency is there. Maybe it is, वो सोचते होंगे नया रूल्स में थोड़ा क्लैरिटी चाहिए उनको, वो हो सकता है. That may be the, otherwise it is very transparent.
तो नया रूल्स में क्लैरिटी कौन देगा उनको?
हम दे रहे हैं अभी आगे क्लासेस है सर.
हाँ जी.
We have some topics on that rules, and it will come. By the time we finish, they will be clarified with all this.
I know Deepak Patel just wrote, is there any plan to promote sport in rural areas and smaller towns and what have you? देखिए, कभी-कभी क्या होता है? In fact, I'll tell you a small story. When I was planning Pro Kabaddi League, a lot of people gave me advice कि देखो आप पहले ऐसा करो कि स्कूलों में शुरू करो और जब स्कूल खेलेंगे तब आप प्रो लीग करना. मैंने कहा आपको मालूम है कि इंडिया में there are, let's say, 1 million schools. And if I start trying to promote Kabaddi in every school, it'll take me 10,000 years to get all the schools going. And then you want me to do a pro league? It's impossible. So what happens is when you do a pro league at the top, a professional league, and suddenly it becomes a livelihood for people around you, the trickle-down effect is very quick. Because people below start saying, oh, if I want to reach there. And they start automatically wanting to play. You mentioned, what do we do to promote? Well, I've just mentioned earlier that the first thing that's required at any level, especially at the lowest level, is a coach. Many schools in rural areas or in small towns, whatever, would like to take a Kabaddi program on, but a lot of them are faltering. वो उस plan को आगे नहीं ले जा पा रहे हैं because of the lack of a proper coach. So it's up to the coaching fraternity to go out there and find out, would you like to start a Kabaddi program? हमारी ego क्या है? अगर हम जाएंगे किसी से बोलेगा हाँ करना ठीक है, we'll go to the next level or the next school or the next village. But we need coaches of many levels. We can't have only people coaching at the PK level. We need coaches at every level. And if you are near a rural area, or if you know somebody who's a robust guy who is willing to take up the mantle of coaching, teach him at the very basic level, at least some kind of standards of the game, some rules, some tactics and what have you. And he may be your biggest scout and he may say, in that village, there are these 5 people who are playing fabulous Kabaddi and they'll move up the rank. So we've got to take the responsibility ourselves. No one organization in India or in big countries such as India can start a bottom level program. I mean, look at 1.4 billion people. Kahan se to shuru karega aadmi koi?
So there is a question.
Yeah.
The question is, I will read out. Sir, can you please tell a little more about as to how are we supposed to evolve the participation of young minds in the game of Kabaddi and ask more to them to join this game? That is the question.
Well, that's too wide a question here. I mean, how do we encourage youngsters to play the game? I think the first and the biggest step is to start right at the top where they can see the peak. They can see the, if I can say, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, saying कि हम वहां पहुंच सकते हैं कि वहां पहुंचने में बहुत फायदा है. अगर कोई गेम प्रोफेशनल नहीं होता है तो वहां किसी को एनकरेज करने में बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. I mean, other sports that don't have a professional league, that don't have a way of earning through sport, it's very difficult to motivate youngsters. But the minute you see earnings in sport, you feel, hey, I can also reach there. So that way the PKL has done, if I may say so myself, a lot of good in terms of the aspirations of the people wanting to get there. And that is the encouragement you need, apart from the coaching at the junior most level. Because if you're seeing that I can be there, then you realize I have to work harder physically. I have to become stronger. I have to know better. I have to have better tactics in the game. So physically you can become stronger on your own, but the coaching level needs to catch up. And again, it's back to you guys, back to all the coaches to take the responsibility of making the game grow by being available at various levels of the game. And surely, the fraternity of coaches doesn't always have to be at the top. There can be various levels. And some of you can coach the physical instructors as well at various schools. But the motivation of play normally comes from the success that other players have achieved at the very top. And luckily now, the PKL has provided that inspiration or aspiration, should you say, and many, many, many more people in countries, well, I have to say India, because I mean, this is the epicenter of the game, but coaches listening from other parts of the world, perhaps you can, I don't know how, through Star or through Anupam, who's also here, find out how your country can broadcast the PKL in your country. Which network can broadcast it, or make it known that, hey, by the way, did you know so-and-so channel is showing the Pro Kabaddi League, which is happening in India? Because by seeing is believing, and people see the sport, they get attracted to it. And of course, the more numbers that see, the more numbers will play. If PKL was available only in 4 states in India, but not everywhere else, it would not grow equally. But it's growing around the country because everybody is watching or has the possibility of watching. I'm not saying you have to hit them on the head and say watch, but it's available everywhere. And I'm sure Star, at last count, I believe Star Sports was broadcasting this league in some manner or the other, on some channel or the other, to about 100 countries. But if we are connected with the game as a coach, maybe in Korea, Malaysia, wherever, in the Middle East or wherever, we need to, of course, also work a little harder and trying to get to the local media and say, by the way, did people know that this league is available on so-and-so channel? Please watch, because I'm coaching, and if you guys want to play, then come to me. I'll tell you whether I can come or send some other coach and start this program off if you want. So a little bit of work has to be done. We can't just sit back and say, I'm a coach. If somebody comes to me, I'll respond. No, we all have to be pushers of the game. We all have to be, if necessary, pioneers of the game. Can't take that responsibility away from us, because we keep looking to others. What can you do? What can you do? No, what can I do? Can I make more of a difference?
Charu bhai, there is a question. Mr. Ravindra Chauhan, he wanted to take your job, sports commentary.
Oh, Chauhan
So,
Sahab.
is there any such courses are there? He's asking.
Man, Chauhan Sahab, kya hua ki, I mean, I must confess, a lot of people told me over many years, why don't you do a small institute of communication, of coaching for commentary and this, that, and the other. And I said, sounds like a great idea. I can just be at one place and coach people and, be a professional there. But I realized that there are very few opportunities in India. Thanks to Star now, there are a few opportunities, thanks to a couple of other channels, of course, in other languages as well. But the number of people that are required are very, very, very few. So I must tell you, my own ethical code told me that I must not do this professionally. I must not have an institute. If somebody wants to learn, I'm happy to teach them individually. Because उनको पढ़ा तो दिया, उनको सिखा तो दिया, उनको बता तो दिया कि किस तरह से एक बढ़िया कमेंटेटर होना, लेकिन अगर अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है तो वो कोचिंग के साथ करेगा क्या? So I said, okay, I'm not going to do this because there are very, very few opportunities in India. In developed countries, television is not only a national television. There are many levels of television that cover sport. In India, we have a strange situation where we have only, sorry, Anupam, television at the highest level showing international sport, and then nothing. No sport after that. None of the regional channels or other things, regularly carry sport. Now Star is making a big effort. But this whole aspect of lower level sport being covered by local television stations has not become a reality in India so far, maybe because of the commercial situation and what have you. So we'll have to be patient, is all I can say. And if you're really good, train in front of a mirror, record your commentary and send it to Anupam who's listening. So maybe he'll then take it forward. There was a very interesting question by Muthu, I think a little earlier on, but I've already forgotten it. Muthu, what was your question here? Something about... So Geeta... I don't know. Okay, so who else is going to come in?
Sir, there is one more question.
Sorry, Sunil Taneja.
Yeah. Sunil Taneja.
Sunil, what are you doing listening? Like tennis is played on every surface. Should there be a... what was the question again, Sunil? Anyway, this business about surfaces. Yes, many sports have many different surfaces, but that's not the key to their survival or their popularity. I think if it's played on any kind of surface, the skill levels are pretty evident. And if you can't get a mat, I think Stars or Mashal's trying to send mats everywhere now, and mats are becoming very important for various reasons because of hopefully reduced injury or reduced abrasion at least. But any surface, doesn't matter. What do you think cricket? Cricket is played, say, by 20 million people in India. How many of them play on a turf wicket? Less than 1%. 99% of cricket played in India is played on the streets, in some, empty land area or in some, anywhere. So let us not worry too much about surfaces, because even surfaces have a pyramid where 90% of the players play anywhere that possible. And only right at the top do you get the best infrastructure. Yes, the more we can get in terms of the mat going around to different districts, different institutions, even schools. There are many people who afford mats, but we haven't gotten to a point where we're pushing the game hard enough to get people to invest in a mat. Many of the better schools can easily have a mat. They have the space, but wahan koi gaya nahi abhi tak unko dhakka dene ke liye. So it'll happen with a little bit of, the big mistake we all make is that, in a sense, this new sophisticated competitive form of Kabaddi is only 6 years old. And it's a very new sport. Let's be patient. It'll happen with time, but it'll happen if the right people who are committed to take it forward, take it forward. The more the number of mats, I think the more the youngsters will take to it, because even parents and the youngsters see a certain level of safety. Even if it's in the villages or in a small town, a mat gives them a sense of sophistication. Oh, wow, okay, let's go to this sport because now it seems nice and new and beautiful. But at the lower level, every sport is played just anywhere, and that's fine. And if tournaments are happening on different surfaces, that's fine too. As Sunil said in tennis, there are different surfaces, people adapt, people play. Because of mat, is there importance of mud kabaddi? Supriya Patil says, yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I've just said, that's where it all begins. You can't get a mat everywhere. It's up to us to adjust when we get to a higher level to a mat. And it's not very difficult to adjust. I mean, it might take a short while, but you don't want to become a mud player to a top star on a mat overnight. It might take you some time, so be it, to change surfaces. I mean, after all, if you're playing on, matting wickets in cricket most of your life, and then suddenly you come into a higher level and you play on a turf wicket, it takes you a little time to adjust. So too in our game of Kabaddi. I know we've run very short on time. What do we do? Which is the best place to Kabaddi practice, mud or ground? Well, there's grass, there's everywhere. I think you can learn a lot on any surface. But I'll let Kabaddi Rao Sahab answer that later because I'm running out of time. Just get to play, please. I mean, understanding the tactics is more important. And then, of course, the surface will follow. Which surface? Ashok More, different ways to psychologically strengthen our players from their early days. Yeah, let's go to a sports psychologist for that. Like I said earlier on, that there need to be many influences coming in, and a sports psychologist is best, even at the younger levels, to teach them just how to be strong. But a lot of that comes from motivation. I think a lot of psychology is motivation, is just positivism. And if we are hard on youngsters, we berate them. If we are, not understanding that, the individual, then sometimes that person will give up. So, psychology is all about understanding individuals and motivating them to carry on despite somebody is a little slow, strong. If focus on speed, all about, the fact that process is important, not the result. Oh, you won or you've lost. No. Did you play well today? Did you play to your potential today? Is the big key. I gave a little lecture earlier. I think the concept is you can measure an angle. Have you done the best you could? Have you bettered that? Forget the fact that you're 10th in the race, but have you done the best or done better than you normally can? Similarly, in Kabaddi also, have you become a little stronger? Have you become quicker? Have you been... So it's not winning or losing a game. It's just these individual angles that need to be worked on all the time. Sir, मैं जानता हूँ कि time
All panelists permit.
मेरे लिए तो.
Sir, thank you very much, sir.
Because it's very interesting.
No, because I speak too much. I beg you, which very, very, very important, because that's how the game will grow internationally. And ethics, equally important. If people are not learning the right way, sensible, honest, then I don't want to be involved with any such sport or any such people, because I think intense, deep honesty is very, very important. Okay, I'll stop.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It was a wonderful program, sir. As you said, sir, just simply knowing the skill of the game is not important. There are so many other things, like coach has to be a very fit coach. He has to be always positivity and encourage the players. And most important is he should be more communicative and should try to know the languages, and not only English and Hindi. He should be he should interact, try to interact in local languages. Sir, thank you very much once again, sir, for giving your time. And
Thank you, Royal Saab. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kabaddi Rao, Dr. Saab.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And please, let's all lift the game together. Thank you.
Sir, I also thanks panelists Anupam sir, Nataraj sir, Prashad sir for sparing and joining today's program. Once again, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.